On the night of June 9th, 2023, a date that would forever be etched in the city's memory, Ljubljana was quiet, unusually so. The hum of daily life, the constant background noise of a bustling city, was absent, its usual energy replaced by a deceptive calm, a stillness that masked the impending chaos. It was the kind of quiet that makes you uneasy, the silence before a storm. The city's busy streets were empty, devoid of the usual late-night traffic and the chatter of people. Even the stray dogs seemed to have sought shelter, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. Streetlights casting long, eerie shadows in Rajguru Nagar, painting the scene with an unsettling contrast of light and darkness. The shadows danced like specters, hinting at the unseen events about to unfold. Families slept soundly in their beds, unaware of the storm about to break their peace, their dreams undisturbed by the reality that was about to shatter their sense of security. Little did they know, their lives were about to be touched by a crime of unprecedented scale. This was no random crime. It wasn't a spur-of-the-moment act of desperation. It was a meticulously planned operation, a carefully orchestrated scheme that had been months in the making. Every detail had been considered, every contingency accounted for. Timed for when the city was most vulnerable, when its defenses were down, and its inhabitants were at their most unsuspecting. The perpetrators had chosen their moment with chilling precision. The darkness was a perfect cover, concealing their movements and masking their intentions. It was their ally, their shield, their silent partner in crime. The silence an accomplice, amplifying the tension and creating an atmosphere of suspense. It was a silence that spoke volumes, a silence that foreshadowed the impending violence. The target, a cash management company, a place where fortunes were stored and secured, a supposed fortress of money hidden in plain sight, a symbol of wealth and security that was about to be challenged. Its walls, its alarms, its security systems, all were about to be put to the ultimate test. A team of professionals moved with purpose, their steps precise, their movements synchronized. They were a well-oiled machine, each member playing their part with unwavering focus, every second bringing them closer to their goal, closer to the prize they had so meticulously planned to seize. The air crackled with anticipation, with the weight of what was about to happen. As the clock passed 1:30 a.m., the witching hour, the stage was set for a heist that would shake the city to its core, a crime that would become the stuff of legends. The calm was heavy, almost suffocating, the air tense, thick with anticipation and the unspoken threat of violence. Ljubljana was about to wake to a nightmare, a rude awakening that would shatter its peaceful slumber. The city slept, blissfully unaware of the events about to unfold, but history was about to be made on its quiet streets, a history written in daring, in audacity, and in the cold, hard currency of crime. The CMS Securities office in New Rajguru Nagar from the outside appeared utterly unremarkable. It was a plain, two-story commercial building, the kind you might find in any quiet suburb. Nothing about it screamed high-value target. It blended seamlessly into its residential surroundings, a chameleon in brick and mortar. The street was quiet, the houses nearby dark, giving the impression of a peaceful, uneventful night. No high walls, no obvious security, just an ordinary storefront, easily overlooked. There were no imposing gates, no glaring floodlights, nothing to suggest the immense wealth it guarded within. Its normalcy was its disguise, a carefully cultivated illusion of insignificance. It was the kind of place you drive past without a second glance, never suspecting the secrets it held. Inside, however, it was a vital hub, a nerve center for the region's financial arteries. Holding millions in cash for banks and businesses, it served as a crucial intermediary, a secure repository for the flow of commerce. Stacks of currency filled the vault, a silent testament to the city's economic activity. Security was discreet protocols, locked doors, a series of carefully planned measures designed to deter casual threats and maintain a semblance of order. A handful of guards patrolled the premises, their presence a subtle reassurance, a silent promise of protection. On this night, the vault was especially full, overflowing with the week's deposits, a veritable treasure trove waiting to be discovered. A tempting prize for those in the know, a siren song for anyone with the audacity and the planning to attempt the impossible. The location was chosen for its quiet, its anonymity, the assumption that no one would ever suspect such a valuable operation in such a mundane setting, not its defenses. The focus was on blending in, on becoming invisible, rather than on erecting impenetrable barriers. The guards were prepared for petty threats, for the occasional opportunistic thief or disgruntled employee. Not a coordinated assault, a meticulously planned operation executed with precision and ruthless efficiency. The robbers understood the psychology of the neighborhood, the ingrained sense of security, the assumption that nothing bad ever happens here. Quick, quiet action would go unnoticed, lost in the hum of suburban life, the rustling of leaves, the distant barking of a dog. The office's greatest weakness, the chink in its armor, was its attempt to be invisible, its reliance on the assumption that no one would bother to look too closely. As the night deepened, the shadows lengthened, and the streetlights cast an eerie glow on the unassuming building. Its defenses would be tested like never before, pushed to their absolute limit by a force determined to expose its vulnerabilities. The stage was set, the players were in position, and the clock was ticking, for a breach that would stun the city, shattering the illusion of peace and exposing the fragility of security in the most unexpected of places. At 2 a.m., the operation began. 10 to 12 masked men approached the CMS office, moving with practiced stealth. They overpowered the two guards outside in seconds. No alarms, no noise. The robbers split up. Some secured the perimeter, others forced a guard to lead them inside. 3 unsuspecting employees were at work, unaware of the danger. The invaders used the guards to gain entry, taking control without a struggle. Hostages were made of all 5 staff, 2 guards, 3 cash handlers. The robbers moved with chilling efficiency, dominating the scene. There was no chaos, only cold precision. The fortress had fallen from within. The employees' routine night had turned into a nightmare. The heist was underway. Inside the office, the tense atmosphere crackled with anticipation as the robbers began to reveal their weapons. These weren't just ordinary weapons. They were traditional swords, gleaming menacingly under the fluorescent lights, and kirpans, the ceremonial daggers, each one a symbol of authority and power, now repurposed for a far more sinister goal. The sight of these blades was meant to immediately intimidate and exert control over everyone present. The office staff, caught completely off guard, were quickly subdued. Their hands were bound tightly with rope, the coarse fibers digging into their skin as they were herded into a corner of the room, their faces etched with fear and confusion. Fear was thick in the air, a palpable presence that choked the room. Each terrified glance, each stifled sob, amplified the robbers' dominance and underscored the gravity of the situation. The weight of the unknown pressed down on them all. The leader of the group, his eyes cold and calculating, moved with purpose straight to the strong room, the heart of the operation. He knew exactly where he was going, his movements betraying a familiarity with the building's layout. This wasn't a lucky guess. It was clear that someone had provided them with intimate knowledge of the office's inner workings, its security protocols, and the location of its most valuable assets. This was no random hit, no spur-of-the-moment decision gone awry. The precision and efficiency of the operation spoke volumes about the meticulous planning that had gone into it. Someone, somewhere, had betrayed the company, providing the robbers with a detailed blueprint, a roadmap to their fortune. This betrayal cut deep, a wound that would take time to heal. The robbers worked methodically, each member of the team performing their assigned task with chilling precision. There was no hesitation, no wasted movement, only a relentless focus on the objective. They began loading the cash, bundle after bundle, into the company's own vans, vehicles that were now instruments of their audacious crime. The irony was stark, the company's assets being used against itself. Bag after bag disappeared into the vans, a seemingly endless stream of currency vanishing into the darkness. The weight of the stolen money was immense, both literally and figuratively. Over 8 crore rupees in total, a staggering sum, a life-altering amount of money that represented the culmination of their elaborate scheme. Before making their escape, they locked the employees in a small windowless room, further ensuring their getaway would be clean and uninterrupted. And to cover their tracks completely, they systematically destroyed the CCTV recorder, erasing any visual evidence of their presence. Then, with the vans filled to the brim with their ill-gotten gains, they vanished into the night, disappearing into the labyrinthine streets with the loot. The office was left in chaos, a scene of utter disarray and violation. Papers were scattered, furniture overturned, and the air hung heavy with the scent of fear and desperation. The vault stood empty, its heavy door ajar, a gaping maw that symbolized the magnitude of the loss. The silence within was deafening, broken only by the faint hum of the building's electrical system. The staff, finally freed from their confinement, emerged shaken and traumatized, their faces pale with shock. The events of the night would forever be etched into their memories. It was, without a doubt, one of the boldest and most audacious heists in the history of Punjab, a crime that would send shockwaves through the region. The city would wake to a dawn of shock and disbelief, grappling with the reality of the audacious crime that had unfolded under the cover of darkness. The hunt for the perpetrators was about to begin. The scale and audacity of the heist stunned Ludhiana. This was no ordinary robbery. It was a surgical strike on a hardened target. The criminals' planning and discipline were chilling, more like a movie than real life. Their silence, their timing, their non-use of firearms all pointed to a calculated, professional crew. The city's sense of security was shattered overnight. No one saw it coming. There were no warnings, no clues. For Ludhiana, it was a wake-up call. Even the safest places could be breached. The heist was more than a theft, it was a blow to the city's confidence. The crime was discovered at dawn, when a freed employee called the police. Officers arrived to chaos, an empty vault, shaken staff, and a ransacked office. Senior police rushed to the scene, launching a massive investigation. Forensic teams scoured for evidence, hoping to salvage the damaged CCTV footage. The first big break came when the stolen cash van was found abandoned near Mullanpur, with weapons left inside. This confirmed the robbers' escape route and gave police their first clues. The hostages described the robbers' language and weapons, and knowledge of the office. It became clear the gang had inside help. The investigation turned inward, searching for a mole. The city was on edge, desperate for answers. The hunt for the masterminds had begun. The Punjab police launched a massive manhunt, forming specialized teams. Technical surveillance, call records, and CCTV footage were all scrutinized. Suspicion quickly fell on an insider, someone who knew the office's secrets. Focus turned to Mandeep Kaur, a former employee, and her husband. The couple was believed to have orchestrated the heist, providing critical information. The search expanded nationwide, with checkpoints and alerts across states. Arrests followed swiftly, and much of the stolen cash was recovered. The masterminds were finally caught in Uttarakhand, planning to flee to Nepal. The case revealed a story of betrayal and greed. Justice was on its way, but the city's wounds would take longer to heal. News of the heist spread rapidly, captivating the nation. For Ludhiana, it was a terrifying reality, not a movie plot. The media dissected every detail, sparking debates on security and trust. Businesses across India reviewed their own defenses, fearing similar attacks. The term Ludhiana heist became a national buzzword. The crime exposed vulnerabilities in cash management and private security. Residents grew wary, their sense of safety shaken. The psychological impact lingered long after the headlines faded. The heist forced an entire industry to rethink its protocols. Ludhiana's peace of mind had been stolen along with the cash. 2 years later, the Ludhiana heist remains a dark chapter in the city's history. Police made swift arrests and recovered much of the money, but questions linger. Was every conspirator caught? Was all the cash found? The story endures as a cautionary tale, a benchmark for criminal audacity. Security protocols across the region have been overhauled in its wake. The crime forced banks and businesses to evolve, making future heists harder. The memory of that night, masked men, terrified staff, an empty vault, still haunts Ludhiana. The city has moved on, but it has not forgotten. The heist is a reminder of how fragile security can be. June 9, 2023, remains etched in Ludhiana's collective memory.